Yo, what's up, guys? I'm Ben, and normally I would be joined by my co-hosts, plural, but this is obviously coming out obscenely late, so I'm just gonna do it solo to save time. I was busy with finals and stuff for a lot of the past couple weeks, but also, I never really got around to finalizing what segments we would do. At first, the plan was to do normal segments, like power rankings and pick'ems, etc., and we did have a week 0 episode recorded, but as I was editing it, I realized that it was really, really boring. Normally when I'm editing, I can just tell a video is going to be good. So when it's not, I know I'm going about something the wrong way. So I stopped for a second thought about it. Who makes some of the more popular DPL videos? Phil. Why? Because he says screw the norms and then makes videos of himself shirtless in the snow yelling like a maniac and we all love it. So, screw the norms. We don't need power rankings and pick'ems, those are boring. Instead, let's have some fun with this. But we will start off with a normal segment, just like a weekly recap of Week 1. Week 1 is long in the books, and at the time of recording this, Week 2 is as well. Rocky Helmet Virizions, number 8 in basically everybody's power rankings, pulls off an upset win over Kramer's 4-3. Siderl and Chipboard led off the series, giving their team a 2-0 lead, but that wasn't enough. II took down Ziff in Game 3 because I is broken. Josh pulled off an upset win over Mayo in Game 4, evening up the series at 2 apiece. He came back from a 1-3 deficit in that game. Mayo's only real way of killing the KB was to land a Stone Edge with his Mega Aerodactyl, but the RNG gods were not on his side that day. Dougal took Game 5 for Kramers in what was a bit of a bizarre game. I'm still not entirely clear on the situation. From what I can gather, Dougal had an IRL emergency pop up mid-game, and at that point it was looking like Tort was in the front seat. But then Dougal pulled a double into Zera to catch the Toxapex on entry, Calm ending up on Tort switching to Comfy and beating that in the 1v1. It also killed Spectrier because non-status boosted Hex does 22 to a +1 Zera. Dougal missed a Focus Blast on the Rotom Heat, which would have wrapped up the game right there, but Zera died, Urshifu revenged the Rotom, and then from my understanding, Tort identified his win con. Stalling for time against a man with an IRL emergency in hopes of him forfeiting. It's not even that he played out the Pexby Ferrothorn 1v1 that he wasn't going to be winning, barring 3 crits in a row. He stalled out the actual timer, which meant stalling real-world time. Again, against a guy with an emergency to attend to. He said on turn 79 that it was his, quote, only way to win, but at the end of the game, he said in the chat that he didn't know about the situation, so I'm still pretty confused on that, but nonetheless, Kramers took the 3-2 lead. Beardy pulled off an upset win of his own over Troy in Game 6. Hydropet miss on turn 4 was a real killer for Troy. He would have had a +2 Finny, it would have been pretty healthy, and it probably would have been able to take a hit from whatever Beardy would have wanted to send into Revenge and then kill it back. But obviously, who knows what kind of a difference it made in the long run. Both sides obviously would have played the game differently. There's no point in theory modding. But in a nail biter, Beardy cleaned up the game with Water Shirk and Grun, tying up the series at 3 apiece. And Skyhorse finished the job, taking down Inverse in Game 7, because LOL, Arctis ult is broken. Moving on to our next matchup, we've got Whiscash Gang versus Temporal Tower Titans. Wombo led off the series with a win, giving TTT a 1-0 lead, but then things kind of went downhill. Gypsy beat Zern in Game 2, there was a bit of hacks, but I don't know what kind of difference it would have really made in the end.
Hey yo, so where is this hydro pump switching?
Oh, that's his switching. That's his switching.
Switching, you moron.
Bruh, come on, dude!
Where's the hydro switching, he said?
I don't think that was killing.
It didn't need to kill, it did 90 zillion%. It was life orb modest.
Oh, well, Jacko's part of the mod.
What
the
Fuck you with the freest boost of your life!
No,
I don't
he's
give a
gonna
fuck
EQ.
about the roost, bro! It's
He's
something
gonna
we
EQ.
missed!
Q-Wave
Let's
was
imagine
good.
he's trying to 2-code on entry.
When was he going to EQ there? Why would he stack his Metagross for no reason? This is why Gypsy just gets into your play. You just get drunk before playing Gypsy and you can 6-0 him with your eyes closed. Jesus Christ.
Why
Get
anonymous
drunk
quote?
before the game when you can.
I'm just
It's not.
I'm waiting to take a mock because
Dude, if he missed.
If he would have missed, the guy would have been
Dawson
mad.
would have been
Rage.
fucking seething.
Bullet
He's
punch,
bright powder.
earthquake. Come on!
You guys are telling me that Gypsy King is good. He's the worst player there is. I've never seen a player as bad as Gypsy.
Game.
Doesn't he have bullet punch?
Lovely fucking game. No, why do you want a bullet punch? You can just ice punch once he misses and kills. What do you mean bullet punch? Fuck a bullet punch.
I'm telling you guys, Gypsy is I'm going to ask my captains to rig me versus Gypsy because I want the freest win there is. What was Ice Punch even going to catch? Like, it was the
The
Zapdos, I
Zapdos?
guess? Yes. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense now that I think about it.
Example.
Rin pulled off an upset win over Itzy in Game 3. Then the Sebi versus Rabs game happened. We'll talk more about that later. Whoa, time out. Hold the phone. Hi, Future Ben here. I was planning on talking about this game later on in the video. I was basically going to do a whole analysis on it, but as I was editing, I realized how mind-numbingly boring it would be, so we're just going to skip that. TLDR version. The air slash flinch on Moltres put Rabs in the backseat early, but Sebi would have had 2 chances at that, which is effectively a 50-50 shot at getting rid of it, which opened the door for Ardino to do some things later on. Naturally, it still shifted the momentum in Sebi's favor, as he was able to claim the Garchomp as well, and he never really gave Rabs any easy opportunities to come back, although Coco could have PP stalled the Draining Kisses as long as Ardino was unboosted, which probably would have been his best bet. Rabs, you're the homie. It sucks that you had to play a legit good player in your first ever DPL game, but I know for a fact you'll bounce back because, well, I know the results of Week 2. Okay, now we're going to continue from where we left off. Then Theo beat San, however the hell you pronounce that, and just like that, Whiscash Gang won the series in the first 5 games. In Game 6, Word Life picked off the Sandsider turn 1, but AM won anyway because he's really good, giving TTT their only other win of the series, as Aki beat Tezzy in a Game 7 that was a bit closer than most people probably would have thought. Scarftorn did prove to be a bit of a pain for Aki there at the end, but he played around it nicely and pulled out the win because he's the GOAT, and the series was won by Wishcast Gang 5-2. Platoon Goons also won their series 5-2, taking down Galarian Stampede. Hiker took Game 1 over Sablo in one of the slowest games in DPL history, perhaps rivaled only by Venno vs Jacko from, I believe, Season 3. Twix set up the series in Game 2 thanks to the broken-ass offensive core of Urshifu and Gengar paired with the best teleport mon in the game. Count beat Metal in Game 3, putting PG ahead 2-1. He got the Vileplume in early and used it as a breaker. This man wore down the Zapdos super low super early on. He got rid of the opposing Vileplume, he stayed in against a Weavile and picked that off, and he just stayed in the driver's seat for the remainder of the game. The series got tied up again in Game 4 as Derek took down Yggdrasil, I think that's how you pronounce that. In Game 5, Lapis won from turn 3 with a Vindio. Sub-Protect, Calm Mind, Scald, Keldeo. And it worked way better than it probably should have. I understand why Daddy didn't go into Alakazam when he broke the sub with Volt Switch on turn 16, because Psychic from there wasn't killing, and Keldeo would have swept anyway. But in hindsight, fishing for a crit there was basically his only win con. Harris cleaned up the series by winning Game 6 versus Pythons in what was a really good game. And Game 7, Y versus Kaz would have been amazing as a tiebreaker to determine the series. One of the best ORAS players from the past versus one of the best ORAS players in the present. But sadly for the fans, Platoon Goons had obviously won by this point. Y magic-coded back a spike on turn 1, clicked U-turn 3 times, got some momentum, and he just stayed in the driver's seat for the rest of the game. Platoon Goons won the series 5-2. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let us address the elephant in the room. The Tangang vs Young Goater series. It is time to introduce a new segment. What is up, DPL Nation? I'm your host, Ben. Let's get right into the news! Oh boy, did some drama happen this week between Tangang and Young Goaters W. Young Goaters were confident they would win this series comfortably. Captain John W said if they lose, he's ending himself and never playing in DPL again. When wished good luck, Jake said, we don't need it. The series started off just like any other. Phil and Vesuvius played some Pokemon. On turn 5, Phil switched in his Tentacruel in front of Vess's Weavile as he clicked Bandit Icicle Crash, and missed. Enter Jake Moran. His teammate Vess replies to him saying, don't start, little Jake, to which Jeremy and Chess in unison say, laughing out loud. Later in the game, on turn 22, Phil switched into Shaman on the Slowbro as it clicked Thunder Wave. Vess switched into his Gardevoir and clicked Hyper Voice as the Shaman was stuck in paralysis. The following turn, Phil presumably tried to protect his Scout and got fully paralyzed again. Vess clicked Psyshock the following turn thinking he would kill, but Shaman lived and got fully paralyzed again the following turn. The chat came alive, laughing my ass off. WinCon spotted. Those paralyses. Who's getting hacked now? Jake is fist pumping the air and screeching in real life right now. Jake just nutted. After the game, this conversation moved to DPL General. Look at Bandit Icicle Crash if we land the first one. Laughing out loud. To which Sidewell and Chess reply, there's no way. Kaz steps in and tries to tell them not to take the bait. But Jake says he isn't baiting! TDG points out the triple parry on Shaman. Jake then uses all caps, yelling that Phil was clearly sacking it. Kaz finally realizes that Jake is not baiting. Blitz chimes in, saying, it's game 1 of week 1. Jake's gonna have a heart attack this season. But all this was only the beginning. The following day, Tangang George plays Young Goater's Craig. On turn 18, George misses an overheat with his Heatran on the Metagross and dies to Earthquake. Things aren't looking good for our heroes. Blitz says, where's Jake? Later in the game, Craig misses a high horsepower that would have been weaker than knockoff and wasn't 2 and KOing Gastro anyway. Gastro also dodges a dual wing beat that would have killed. It finally dies to Metagross's Grass Knot, but not after getting off a burn. George is down 5-2, but it's okay. Metagross is burned, so it's setup fodder, and he wins on the spot. Tangang takes the 2-0 series lead! Let's take a peek at DPL General. Garbage player, laughing my ass off. An interesting turn of events. Jake tells John to stop, to which Jeremy responds, Jake telling John to stop might be the fastest and biggest character development over an episode. Jake responds, don't speak too soon. 2 days later, we get Game 3. X-Ray's Incineroar starts putting a dent in Moxie's team. Down 4-5. Moxie gets a crucial split F-drop with Raichu's Psychic on the Garchomp switch-in, forcing the Zapdos sack. Later on, it's looking like the game's a wrap. Lopunny whips out the Quick Attack, and Moxie's last non is Cobalion. X-Ray U-turns out on the Swords Dance. Roselia lives with a +2 Mega Horn, gets off a last-ditch Leech Seed. Lopunny comes in against a 14% Cobalion, clicks Fake Out, it's down to 25%, it doesn't have a fighting move. Ice Punch shakes that down to 12, close combat bops to Lopunny, and Moxie wins with a 2% Cobalion. And Tangang takes a 3-0 series lead. In DPL General, Captain John W. says, you guys are a collection of mediocre players at best, and won't win a chip, so keep laughing. Now, considering the direct contrary to everything John has been saying so far has come to fruition, Tangang is winning DPL Season 4. Congratulations in advance, boys! Game 4 begins about an hour and a half later. By turn 36, 3 spikes are up on Carson's side of the field. Neither side has removal, so the Greninja is all but dead. Seismitoad will be at 50% and still asleep after the spikes. Nidoking will die. Gardevoir is in range. Basically, this Garchomp is in a position to clean once Snorlax is out of the way. Oh hey, Snorlax is out of the way. Oh hey, that's game! Oh hey, that's the series! Oh hey, this means John is killing himself and retiring from DPL. Oh hey, it's Jake! Blitz and a handful of other people are saying Raikou would have won anyway. The discussion continues in DPL General. For one, Craig seems to be in fine spirits considering what just happened to his team. Theo, a member of a completely different team, insisted, Raikou literally cleaned. I don't know how you think the Earthquake crit mattered. Jake replies, the set hasn't even been shown yet. The fuck you guys talking about? Laughing my ass off. Tangang Captain Venno hops in the conversation, assuring Jake they would have won anyway. Nah, fuck off. How can we believe your sets after all you guys have done? Kaz, another neutral party, jumps in the fray. Yeah, Raikou brought Hidden Power Grass and no extra sensory for the other electric immunity. Theo continues. Jake, I don't know what you're on. The game was literally over as soon as he U-turned. Blitz finally chimes in, saying Raikou won unless they were Psychic Berry Nidoking, a Nidoking that was already revealed to be Life Orb. Contrary to reality, Craig says they were indeed Psychic Berry, and proceeded to paste the set. Nidoking, male. Item, Psychic Berry. It is at this point the chat realizes some players on the team can take things lightheartedly, and not every single player on Young Goaters is a drama queen. That's it for me, and as always, as soon as I get the scoop, I'm gonna keep you guys in the loop. Eventually. I probably won't if we're being real. But I put way too much effort into that intro for me to only use it once. Alright, I'm gonna drop the Keemstar act now. Alright, that's enough Keemstar for today. Let's, actually be constructive now. The series was decided by this point, but obviously the show must go on. Young Goaters actually won a game, with Jeroni Puff beating Money Guy in Game 5. There was a T-Bolt Para on Gallade from Nihilego. I expect the outcome would have been the same, because it just seemed like Jeroni was in the driver's seat from turn 1. We had a really good Game 6 in L5 versus Jake. Not much to say about this, honestly. It was pretty clean, and very well played. L5 made the right play on turn 36, sacking Coco by clicking Taunt in front of a Snorlax that was already taunted, just avoiding damaging it so he could steal the Figgy Berry with Scissors Bug Bite and clean up the game there. Super small nitpick about that, though. Figgy is definitely a good berry to run on Snorlax in most cases, since that covers for a lot of mons that would run Trick. But if your opponent has a Bug Bite mon, I would have run a Wiki Berry with a negative speed nature. I am being 100% serious about that. It's pretty rare, but there have been a handful of times when I've seen failed opportunities to capitalize on this type of thing, and I just want to see it happen once. Again, though, it's just a nitpick, it's not really a big deal. Hunter took Game 7 over Techno. It was pretty good, came down to the wire, Every time Hunter had his Mega Gallade on the field and clicked close combat, it was obviously -1 defense. Techno sent out his Lopunny that would kill with a return from there, so he's got to preserve the Gallade, sack something, get the Gallade back in against the Lopunny that wouldn't be able to kill it. So then Techno's got to sack something, get Lopunny back in against another -1 Gallade. The cycle just continued. Hunter had more sacks, and at the end of the day, he won with a Gallade at 8% health. And let's just briefly revisit the first 4 games, since again it wasn't really being constructive with the whole Keemstar act. In the Phil vs. Vesuvius game, Jake's point about Weavile's matchup does have merit. With Gramble on the bench, well-played Weavile should just dent this team hella. And even though the Icicle Crash miss was in front of a Tentacruel, any chip on the Ice Resist is huge for late game potential. Annoying, but not necessarily game-changing. In the George vs. Craig game, Heatran still lost the 1v1 to Metagross, even if Overheat landed. I ran some calcs based on other damage we saw that game. Metagross appeared to be max HP Assault Vest, and it didn't look like Heatran had any special attack investment. So the Overheat would have done roughly 83%, just roughly, at the absolute most. I don't have the exact spreads in front of me, that's just, again, rough estimation. But Metagross taking that 83% would have put it in range of Latios' T-Bolt, so George would have been able to keep that around for later on. The high horsepower miss I don't think really mattered unless they were Earthplate Crook. What really sucked was missing the dual Wing Beat with Aerodactyl. If that lands, George goes Rillaboom. His only real way to win is to SD there and hope that Craig switches. So Arrow stays in and dual Wing Beats, but even if George went for the Grassy Glide, Weezing comes in for free against an unboosted Rillaboom. It would have been able to wake up, blow a Sleep Turn, and click whatever its last move was. I'm sure at that point, George would have just U-turned out into Pidgeot, Craig would have gone Melodic, George would have U-turned on the switch, gotten Rillaboom back in for free. Huh. Alright, now that I really think about it, and really break it down, the game still wouldn't have been over even with dual Wing Beat landing. Might have just come down to the 50-50 after the turn of the Gastro would have died, since preserving the Arrow would make life a lot easier, because if that comes in on the Pidgeot, something dies. But letting Rillaboom set up an SD would have basically resulted in the same outcome as that we saw in the actual game. Maybe I'm overlooking something, but man, the number of Mons on each side of the field really just does not tell the whole story. In the Moxie vs. X-Ray game, Raichu's Pedef drop on Garchomp was costly, as Garchomp would have claimed a kill there, and having Zappy around there at the end as an additional sack would have won him the game with Lopunny. In a vacuum, yes, that would have made the difference, but the world is not a vacuum, so who really knows? We already talked about the Earthquake crit likely not mattering in the Blitz vs. Carson game, and that's basically all there is to say about this series. I can certainly understand blaming Hacks for losing a series, but I don't think you can claim it 3 times in 1 week unless each one was blatantly game-changing. Alright, week 1 has been recapped. Normally we would have a couple more segments after this, but as Future Ben mentioned earlier, one of those was super boring, and the other is supposed to be a preview of the upcoming week. And, well, week 2 has already been over for quite some time now, so I don't really see a point in doing that. I don't want this video to be too short, but at the same time, I'm not going to add a bunch of pointless filler. Again, this is obviously coming out hella late. Not to sound like a broken record, but, I had finals and stuff a week ago. I wasn't even sure what segments to include. Of course, both of those played a factor into why this is coming out so late. It wasn't until Friday the 11th, which is week 2, that I finally had everything planned out. I had most of the script written by that Saturday, but I had trouble finding an opportunity to record. I wanted to be loud, particularly for the Drama Alert segment, but I find myself doing most of my work at night when the rest of my family is asleep. I had to push back recording until Monday, and then on Tuesday recorded the segment that I ended up scrapping. I've been editing this over the course of the past few days. I'm recording this part on Friday the 18th, and who the hell knows when this video is even going up. Going forward, of course, the initial plan was to do weekly uploads, but I don't see myself being able to commit to that because I'm a bit of a perfectionist and everything has to be absolutely immaculate, otherwise I'm not happy. I think I've decided to just do 1 video at mids, 1 at the end of the regular season, and maybe 1 after playoffs. There's more material to work with, more time to get everything done, quality over quantity, etc, etc. And also, there are other videos that are unrelated to DPL that I've been wanting to work on for a while, and it's Christmas break, so I kind of want to take advantage of this opportunity if I can. For now, I just want to get this video up as soon as possible, and like I said before, I don't really see a point in recording any. I didn't finish the script. Huh. Well. This is awkward. Alright. On the fly here. Well, like I said, I want to get this video up as soon as possible. I don't know when the next video is gonna go up. I guess it would probably be the mids video where we would like recap the first half of the season. That would probably come out like, well, at the end of mids. Duh. So that's a tentative plan. I'm not gonna ramble any longer. I just need to get this up. See you guys next time.